Everybody, welcome. This is Podcast with the Pirates, episode 1. We got a couple special guests in-house tonight, and we got a lot of stuff to cover, so it's going to be pretty exciting. Just want to throw out there, we got a few things, so you can check in the links in the description. We got our merch store, we got a bunch of cool pirate merch. We also got our Discord link in the description below, so you can join the Discord. It's a little dead right now, there's not a lot of action on there, but that's why we need you to jump in. And we're going to try to start something there, because you never know. We could get banned on Facebook or YouTube at any time, because that happens pretty regularly, it seems. So definitely check that out. Make sure you follow podcasting tonight, and make sure you like and share the stream as well. It's going to be an exciting time, and we're all geared up and ready to shoot the shit with y'all.
I build stages and I work lights.
I'm Gr1mfax. I'm a heavy dubstep producer and DJ here in Calgary.
Oper80r, music producer in the realm of tech house, techno, breakbeats, and maybe a little drum and bass here coming up soon.
That's fantastic, and I'll tell you what, these folks know how to throw down. And so do we as the Pirates, right? This is what we do around here.
Right, absolutely.
That's a good time, that's for sure.
All right, so I want to start this off by talking about one of the biggest news stories that we're seeing around today, and that's Trump winning the election. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of division on Facebook and on social media. You got a lot of people complaining, and you got a lot of people super excited about it. Personally, I'm excited about it. I think it's a better solution or situation than the other side getting in again. As in Canada, we kind of have the same problem a little bit. But what do you guys think? What are you seeing, and what are you feeling about this whole new president?
That's not a new president, it's an old president come back. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, gas is cheaper.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's going to be groceries is cheaper. That means people are going to have more money to spend on the things that I provide in my service and extracurricular life. So I'm down. I hope to see no wars, and some tariffs talk is a little bit scary for certain industries, but otherwise I think that we're in for a better 4 years. See what happens in 4 years.
Did he, because he got impeached though, is he allowed to serve another 4 years?
We're going to find that out on the 26th, or whatever date it is here at the end of the month. We're going to find out.
I don't know if you remember, but when he got impeached, I don't know how that works, but he didn't move from where he was. It was big in the news back then. I remember about 5 years ago, Trump's been impeached, and he just sat there. He didn't go anywhere. Still president.
The more they come after him, the more that people love what he has to say.
Yeah,
true.
Not only that, I find it interesting, and they did come after him a bunch, right? They tried to get him on all different kinds of stuff, including charges of this and that, and I think I heard somewhere that there were 50 charges against him or whatever, and he beat them all basically because a lot of it was nonsense. I don't know a lot of the details about this. This is just what I've been reading, and I find it interesting that he was able to get not only reelected, but the popular vote, which apparently has only happened, as far as I understand, once before in the history of the U.S., so pretty interesting.
He's been convicted on falsifying documents in furtherance of another crime. The other crime has never been adjudicated. Therefore, the charges that he's found guilty of are fraudulent. So we'll see how that goes.
How do you think, you kind of touched on tariffs there, how do you think that this election and the new old president is going to affect Canada?
It'll definitely affect immigration, like asylum seekers and whatnot coming to Canada. Because his new thing, with deportation or whatever, he's
gonna want to
done a huge new bill on that shit. So
where are they going to want to come? They're going to want to come to socialist Canada, and we don't really have the infrastructure in place for them to just influx like that, which is the same problem that the States had.
yeah. So one thing I'd like to put in there is I've seen a lot of just the word deportation of immigrants on social media and various media, but I think it's very specific to illegal immigrants.
yes,
People who aren't legally meant to be there. And I think anybody who's going to throw up the victim card for this really needs to look at, you know, illegal. There's a legal way to do something in everything we do in this society, and there's an illegal way. And illegal goes so far, and then eventually it gets shut down. So this is all that's happening. Yeah, illegal is illegal. You're just like a set of societal constraints has said, you know, you can't do this. Well,
Need a border.
we all know that you can almost do whatever you want up to a certain point that it becomes a burden on a certain part of society, and then they'll turn around and shut it down. That's why it's illegal.
It's interesting though how a lot of times, you know, the legal people doing things the right way get punished, and the people who are doing illegal things, they kind of just get the green card to go ahead and continue doing whatever they're doing.
That is very funny, isn't it?
I mean, look at Diddy.
Yeah, it is exactly that. There's a couple of lists that we are all hoping to hear from.
Yeah,
We
one
want
starts with E and one starts with P. There's two lists, and there's a bunch of celebrities moving out of the United States to somewhere else right now, and they're claiming it's because Trump got it in, but I have a better feeling that it has something to do with these two lists.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
There's this. People have gone unchecked for too long in government, and it's time now for them to be checked. The citizenry, COVID provided us all with the perfect opportunity to stay home and catch up on politics. And by golly, it looks like a lot of people did that. Jeez.
That's for sure. You'd mentioned, you know, there's some things that are going to affect Canada. But what I find interesting is there's a lot of people also from like other parts of the world, whether it be across the oceans or even, you know, in Canada or whatever, that are also talking about, you know, how Trump, you know, whatever, we want Trump in as well. Like I saw a comment the other day, someone from Russia was saying that, someone from Africa was also saying, yeah, you know, go Trump or whatever, which I think is pretty cool. There's people from Europe. And another thing that's kind of having ripple effects since this has all happened is the crypto markets are going crazy and the stock market's going crazy. As far as gold and silver, though, I find it interesting that gold and silver actually went down while all the other markets had quite the large upswing.
Oh, we're gonna pull out your savings from your gold was the hold of the value you've been hiding from Joe Biden's economy for the last 4 years. You pull that out and you use it to invest in the new Trump economy that's coming. You have investments, you have startup capital, stored gold. So the value of gold goes down. People are trying to sell it.
And there's also historically gold and silver, or the precious metals in general, have been a gauge of faith in being the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar being backed by nothing other than its own military post 1971.
Yeah, Fort Knox is empty.
But what you'll see is as people start to have fear, or corporations start to have fear that the U.S. dollar is not stable, or that it could crumble, those values will go up. And then if you see gold and silver coming down in value, it means there's possibly one of the components is more faith going back into the U.S. dollar.
100%. It's all ebb and flow, really.
Yeah.
Interesting to see. I mean, we need strong value in America for us here in Canada because we deal with them a lot, right? But if we're not going to have tariffs on our stuff, China's going to be pumping in more stuff to us for cheaper than they will to China. But the idea is to try to keep what they're shipping here cost us as much as it does to buy made here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Made in America.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was a very
It looks like we're getting some comments on there about echoey voices.
We're working out the bugs here, folks. It's, using some new little lapel mics. It's our first podcast, so, you know, as with everything, we're going to get better as time goes, but we appreciate the support and y'all watching.
I see some names up there I recognize here. I'm holding my mic a lot closer here. I wonder if that helps.
Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the current state of affairs in Canada. Because, I mean, this whole Trump thing, apparently Trump doesn't want to protect Canada anymore with the U.S. military because of Trudeau. So I know we got an election coming up next year, but I mean, it's a pretty crazy time right now in Canada as well, you know.
Have you ever heard the term political theater?
100%.
Okay, well, I have a feeling a lot of what you might be seeing right now is that political theater, and you know, they're putting on a show right now for sure. Whenever they put on a show, you just really have to wait 6 months to see what parts of that show were had any validity. So there's one reason why the United States would never want to go that route, and it's because Canada really doesn't have much military, and right across the pole from us. And the major thing the United States would never ever want is for Russia and us, because that's all we could do.
Yeah, pretty much. That's for sure.
So on a United States of America perspective, I would not put too much onus on this fear that the United States is not going to defend us anymore. We hold, I think, the 4th largest amount of natural resources, i.e. energy, in the world, and the United States,
just for those on the camera.
that's right. So back to the word political theater. Don't believe or get too worked up on anything you hear on any of these medias right now. A lot of it is just
Yeah, that's a problem I've had. Is I can't get enough good Canadian content on this particular platform, YouTube, because of certain laws. But you know, that's just kind of ridiculousness, if you ask me.
Yeah.
We really need to have better access, especially here in our country, on that platform. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking so.
Oh, I'd say that a lot of people agree with you.
That fills my heart. You know, this is known as a socialist, you know, Trudeau's Canada. So at least to some people.
yeah.
Just got a little bit of information on trying a noise gate here, so I'm just adding a noise gate, and we're gonna try and see if that helps, and let us know in the comments, guys, and we'll try and make it better as we go.
We're trying to flush out a bunch of garbage with really bad audio.
So, I mean, looking forward to the future. I mean, I think the future's looking brighter with Trump in office. Now, we really gotta just look forward to making sure everybody gets out and make their vote count in Canada. Although our voting system is a little bit different, obviously, in the States, but we gotta, in my opinion, get Justin Trudeau out because he's not doing anybody any favors. Housing's gone up, the food bank lineups are at record highs, and I mean, gas is expensive. Everything is just kind of going crazy, and I think a lot of that has to do with some of the choices being made at the top.
Well, we're axed into poverty. This is not, you know, unknown to anyone right now. We're all feeling it. It doesn't matter what economic class you belong to. You go into the grocery store to look for your food, and you're gonna feel it. It's not like it was.
I'm gonna add this. The man is scared right now. This election in the United States of America did not go the way it was being predicted. When you look at that map, it's one big blob of red.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say, because it was mentioned, about people on social media here, but you need to realize this had nothing to do with anybody in Canada getting upset. It doesn't have place. The American people spoke, and they spoke very clearly. There's something or many things that the other side was doing that was upsetting.
democracy worked this time. People were not happy. Maybe they weren't the biggest fans of Trump or everything that Trump has to offer, but they definitely weren't happy with who was running the show. And us as Canadians have to respect the fact that American people their own democratic process, and they collectively made a choice, and it was a very clear choice. So, for people who are going to be upset about which way it went, one way or another, there's a celebration to be had. That democracy just functioned. If democracy in a really big way.
Absolutely.
Definitely nice to
Good
see.
point, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's funny how the media, who's controlled by the other side of the party,
Largely.
they were trying to spin it and say, oh, it was really close or whatever, when it absolutely wasn't close.
Everyone kept their mouth shut about who they were voting for, except for the people who were willing to be vocal about voting in for Miss Harris, who we all know had no business in that vice presidential position, let alone the presidential position.
100%, I agree.
There's absolutely no way that woman is qualified to run a McDonald's. Swear to God.
I heard she's going to a Supreme Court, probably.
Oh, I would love to see. I would love to see a lot of accountability happening, and just get everyone's boots quaking in their. Just, it needs to happen. That's what the people want. And like I said earlier, the opportunity for us all to sit down for 2 years and follow politics and catch up and compare notes with, instead of just watching the news broadcast and getting the compartmentalized garbage that they would sell you for the last 50 years probably, is that we could sit down and we have the time to watch the full live broadcast. So we knew when they were bullshitting us, and that just made it so easy for people to see what was going on, dig just a little bit deeper, and get really mad about it. And yes, so we locked down under Trump initially. That's great. But Trump didn't drag it on and on and on. Trump was voted out with a fortified election where mass mail-in ballots were just sent out. Where's 15 million people? They're probably dead people, people who moved, just mass mailed out ballots, and Democrats probably just swept them all up and just sent them all in, right? You just send them out to everyone. Got people dying. How many people died of COVID? 15 million? Wow. There's your swing right there.
It's just to touch back on, you mentioned that we were stuck at home for 2 years. Not only that, like, a lot of people got paid to sit there and do that investigating. Never have I seen the government pay an entity to investigate them and find out other than, we investigated ourselves and found out we did nothing wrong. This time it went a little differently.
That's a total Canadian thing that happened, and it's
Well,
disgusting.
We'll hire our own investigators, thank you.
Yeah. They're nonpartisan, we swear.
All right, so let's move in and talk a little bit about what we do here, everybody. We all throw events and stuff, so let's talk a little bit about hosting parties, kind of what everybody's learned by hosting your own parties and what we've learned as pirates. First, I kind of want to touch on the pirate parties that we threw over the summer. I mean, as a lot of you know, we started last year and it kind of just came out of nowhere. We've been doing this all through COVID. Small sound system, bunch of friends, slowly building up the sound system bigger. And then last year, everyone was kind of itching in their boots to just get out and start something. And, we got a whole bunch of DJs that wanted to play, and that's kind of when we were like, wow, all right, we got to set this up, we got to build a stage. We built the pirate ship, and we kind of started this whole adventure, So I think it was pretty cool that it kind of came from grassroots and kind of where we are a year and a bit later. But that's kind of what we are about when we throw these parties. You know, it's all about the mindset of remaining from the ground up. It's not about the money. You know, we really appreciate the scene, and we want to bring up artists who deserve to be shown because they're talented and, you know, put in the work, and they do the job, you know. So what about you guys? I mean, I know you guys also throw events, and what do you think, you know, like, give me an overview a little bit about your events and kind of what you think you've learned or kind of where you started maybe.
Well, I can start there. I'm the owner and founder of Obsidian Entertainment here in Calgary, and it's one hell of a commitment, man. It's a lot of time and effort. It is. Um, Even that, like I have probably like 20 people in my DJ chat and promo team roster right now, and it's still like, even with that amount of a team behind you, it's still that much more work, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it's a big one. Um, Starting to get into like more club shows and whatnot now. Like I've only had two in bars and a hookah bar was the other one. But like, yeah, no, like it's a lot. Even getting your first gig at a like renting out a venue, a lot of commitment. Probably usually about 2,500 just to rent the place, you know. Like
Yeah. No, it's not cheap, right? And we need support. Everyone needs support for all of the events that we throw. So when you come out, it's greatly appreciated.
oh yeah, no, I love it. Like my last show, I think there was probably about 60 people there. It was a good time.
Good amount of people.
It was a good time.
Good amount of people. Indoors, it'd be. I don't know. I've never had an indoor one. I missed it, but uh, I'm all about that out. Just the outdoor, so
100%.
Yeah,
quite a journey doing that. It was really just a build, and they will come, and
yeah,
that's how I met these fine people.
To touch on that, it's also really hard to find land or venues or whatever, right? Like it's not an easy market in that regard.
yeah.
Myself, operator, I'm quite intertwined with the Burning Man community of Alberta. Directly on the board of directors for Heartburn and Canmore. For all the people who go to Burning Man or who have been to Burning capacity. It's there. Regional burn events, one being free burn, which I'm not on the committee of, but I do
Attend. But having a collective of people who come together, and most of the people on the boards put in 200 hours every year. I'd say the average is about 200 hours, unpaid,
create a good time for everybody and
to keep the ticket prices
low as possible.
Heartburn being this year, but it's usually falls as close to Valentine's Day as it can be.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It's my birthday.
I
know,
it's
it's
just
it's
a lot of work. Everybody on the committees just put in
their whole livelihood and life into creating this, and it's dual edged. A lot of people find themselves watching too much TV or too many movies, or not being social enough. But if you want to pull yourself out of that, and pull yourself out of that, if you think of how many hours you put into Googling out a television set, if you throw that thing out the window and put your energy into something like what the regional burn communities of Alberta do, is a great way to snuff out depression. Really, if you're feeling like you don't have a purpose, get involved. Get involved whenever you can with being part of throwing, and you'll learn so much. You'll learn about hooking up sound systems. You'll
learn about lights. You'll learn about running. You'll learn about what it takes to throw an event. If you're in fitness, get involved with Gr1mfax here. Get involved with the Alberta Mountain Pirates. Everybody needs help. Like I said, everybody's putting in 200 hours unpaid to create a place for everybody to express themselves, to maybe DJ for the first time. They've never been on a stage. You come out to the Alberta Mountain Pirates, for example, and on the decks in front of some, and some of us seasoned veterans, myself, I've been behind the decks for 20 years. I forget what it's like to have been doing that for the first time.
Mine was 6 years ago. Like it was
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember trembling. I was just shaking in my boots the time I was behind the decks, and now it's like walking on water.
Yeah,
We
no,
just
I'll
flow with it now, but
once a month.
it's the greatest feeling ever. But if you want to get involved, if you want to have a chance to, I mean, the Alberta Mountain Pirates is, I'm gonna say, the best place to get yourself involved with now. The burn community is, it's got well established DJs, and it's not as easy to get a DJ spot in the burn community because DJs and music artists have established this thing years ago, and it's quite dominant. If you really if you want a chance to start somewhere, I would say the best place, the Alberta Mountain Pirates. So you'll get an hour slot somewhere if you're out, and guarantee it.
Thanks for the props. We're all about equal opportunity and inclusivity, right? It doesn't matter if you're new or if you have hundreds of followers or not. Like, we don't care. If you're dedicated and you show up your sets and you care about your craft and you're really into this and that's what you want to do, we're absolutely stoked to give you an opportunity to come show what you got. It's always exciting to, like they were saying, play for a new crowd and kind of get those jitters out, because it only gets easier the more times you do it. But I've been doing it a long time too, and there's a lot of times you still get nervous before a set. It doesn't matter if you prepare or not, or things sometimes always go wrong, and like you kind of never really know what to expect in a lot of cases, and you kind of just got to roll with it. And a lot of time, like, the crowd's there to support you, right? So as long as, again, you're there and you care about your craft and you're there to really genuinely do the thing, then that's what it's about. It's not about necessarily likes and followers. It's not about the money. It's really about building the community, and more than anything, about the music.
Oh yeah, all the DJs come out for us are what make. Fine.
How many DJs were at though?
Jeez. I was more concerned about the actual numbers of patrons. Well, not patrons. All of our land are probably want to have a truck or some sort of four-wheel drive, so you get out to a lot of them just in case. But it out there. Our shows are free, so come on out and maybe throw us a donation for the generator. Right, it all takes money. But like I said, the DJs really do make the whole show. So come on out, try it out. Love to get you in front of some people.
100%. I believe we've got some of our audio issues sorted now, folks, in the chat. So let us know if it's sounding better and we got that echo under control. Please and thank you. Really is a blast, though, doing this, booking the DJs, making it all happen, and I think it's just really exciting, and it's super fun, right? Like, you get to express yourself in a lot of different ways doing this, regardless of if you're a DJ or not, right? There's so many other ways to get your hands dirty and get your name out there and kind of just, be part of the magic, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's room on the crew for character. I tell you what.
So, what do you guys think have been your most notable parts of the events, whether they're your events or our events that you've attended over the last year? Like, have you noticed anything that stood out or that was really fun or funny, or what did you think was super notable?
There was one time. Oh, actually, I think it was the first time I played for you guys. Free World, actually.
It was before last.
But I mean, I'd say that's my most notable and memorable.
Oh yeah, that was a
That
that was a pretty sweet
skyrocketed
show.
my big career.
I've heard that also from the guys in Edmonton there, the Edmonton Bay Society. They said what we're doing, booking them all the time, pumping them up and stuff, it's really helping out their careers. And I mean, it's kind of helping us all, right? We all grow together, we're climbing the ladder together as a team, as a group, as a community, and nobody can really do it all on their own, you know what I mean? Even the larger you get, and you need to hire a manager and this and that, and it's just the way it is, right? It's impossible by yourself to get to the top.
Yeah, you can. For me, my most memorable was well, although there are so many to choose from, I really had a good time in Gleason here for Canada Day. That was I had a blast, okay? And nobody else had to deal with the authorities, but I did, okay? And I had a blast. So anyone else, you can say what you will. I had a good time.
Maybe that's part of why you had a blast.
And I want to express gratitude and thanks to them for letting us do that and not coming at us. And Lord knows some of them there would have sorry for interrupting the powwow.
Oh, there's a powwow.
Yeah, there was
Oh,
a
that's
powwow,
funny.
and they were right there too.
Oh.
They were.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there was some people who were not so impressed, and others who were, and as we said around there, joked about it. Maybe they need a pirate sound system.
With any negotiations like this, the more you have to bring to the table for the folks that are hosting, the more well it will go over. If you're looking to throw and a great offering, figure out what that offering is going to be.
Oh yeah, well, for sure. In that instance, we absolutely did. There's just it's not as organized of a structure, we'll say, as the provincial governments and municipalities. A little bit of some people just didn't realize certain things were in place, and they were kind of blindsided by the whole idea. And we try to jump through as many hoops as possible, not to avoid them, but we adhere to them as best we can, including pulling permits, literally 5 minutes to close of the office. The fact that they didn't actually shut us down until 5 minutes to the end of show, so it was quite an adventure. Yeah.
We
My
definitely
most
tried to
memorable.
do our due diligence. We didn't want to, be trying to step on anybody's toes or cause any real problems or anything. But it's definitely, again, it's super hard to navigate a lot of times, right? Like Mike said, they're not as structured or organized out there as like a city, municipality, what have you. So we definitely had to kind of learn a few things and make do as we were learning. Things just didn't necessarily work out exactly how we were hoping, but we did our best to kind of figure it out, and it ended up working out pretty okay in the end, I think.
They're not lucrative ventures, but I mean, it was fun.
Anything else notable you guys think from your events or our events in the last year?
Fireworks at my when I was doing the sunset set for the fireworks like right as I did a drop, and everybody was like, "Holy shit!" It was sick.
I was there. I was watching.
I did not fire any fireworks.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
It's making me want to invest some money in some fireworks. The May one.
Yeah.
do my own show up by the operator.
Yeah,
Tape them to your feet and start
I
windmilling.
consult in that department.
Notable things. Yes. The notable thing I'm noticing, and I've been in the EDM scene for quite a long time. I was there when PK Sound built its first speaker systems, brought them out to little tiny Shambhala. And I was there to see a guy in his white t-shirt went by Excision, practicing some of his new music for, it was his, I think his second Shambhala, and he was test driving some of his stuff, and I was in the sound booth with friends of mine from town, and they were telling me about how they had just built a brand new system, and this Shambhala, which was my first one I'd ever been to, had allowed them to bring in their new sound system, test drive the thing. I had never even heard of dubstep before. I didn't even know what it was. The first time I ever heard it was in the sound booth watching somebody run a big soundboard, flashlight in their mouth, moving everything which way. And this guy had never heard of dubstep or Excision before on, and the PK Sound brand new set of bass bins. My vision blurred, and and if you know how far back the sound booth is, it's a ways back. You're not up by the damn thing. And I was just completely blown away by what synthesizers were capable of, and digital synthesizers. I'd never heard this before. This was people digging into an Excision, test driving some like brand new technique, and a sound test driving rows and rows of big sub bins. So how this relates to what I've seen that's notable in the past couple of years is out at the pirate parties and at Heartburn, which I'm involved with. Heartburn this year is our second year having J. Michael, his ionic sound system that he built himself, in at that venue, and he's really running this, and I'm watching him go with this sound system. And then at the pirate parties, there's the Chaos sound system,
Pirate sound, yeah.
Pirate Sound, and we've got DJ Donanox now with his new sound
That's the
building
rave to the grave system.
the Rave to the Grave system. And it's really, really reminiscent of that time that I was watching some friends of mine that were involved with the PA Sound, and they were all out there test driving this new build. And look how far PK Sound has come now. They're
Worldwide.
a global entity and a global force to be reckoned with. That PK Sound built here in Calgary, Alberta. That EDC Las Vegas, EDC Tomorrowland. It's everywhere now, all around the world, and it just blows my mind. How far a small idea and a small force of nature of a few people, where that could go if the focus is put into it, more people come on board and more people believe in it. Just by believing in it and being there and watching it, I feel like I was a small, trust me, very small part of watching K-Sound become. I was there supporting it. So if you want to be a part of something big and feel like you're a part of something, get into it while it's small and you can see people putting the effort.
100%. And it takes dedication. It takes dedication not only from the people building the equipment and throwing the shows, but also takes dedication from the fans and the followers and the community, right? That's what you got to foster community. It's kind of been one of our, call it a mission, part of our mission statement, if you will, or core values. It's always about fostering that community, because it's not just about one person, as we were talking about before, right? You need everybody involved. You need the supporters, and then once you get more eyes on you, they tell their friends, and we had a super good time here, and all of a sudden, by the end of the season this year at the Ender Bender, we had an astonishing amount of people, more than we were expecting, more than we kind of thought we would get. So it was pretty exciting to see kind of just the growth over the last year and a half, and how it all came together. And we're on to the next thing, right? You just got to never give up and keep at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic and exciting. Fantastic.
So, what do you guys think that, either ourselves as the Pirates or you guys throwing events could have done better? And what else did you learn from throwing your own events? And not just necessarily over the last year, but just in general, what are maybe some key things that other people trying to do this would be interested to hear as a kind of behind the scenes look,
You think you're going in there and there's going to be a kind of glory involved with it? Yeah. By the end of the event you threw, you are just driven into the ground. You feel like you're nothing now. But you just have to remember, there's people that went home with big
Hey man, I've played for 2 people before, and they went home with smiles. So
it's a labor of love. You have to, don't go into it for some sense of glory, or all these people waving their hands, and it's got to be a labor of love. If you love the music and you love the feeling of a big sound system, love music, if you love people hearing the music that you produced, you'd spend 10 years never getting paid a dime. You gotta want to love it.
That's why they call people like us the starving artists, right? I kind of want to also touch on Denzel said there, playing to 2 people before and left smiles on their faces. Whether you're playing to 2 people or 200 or 2,000, you got to play your heart out, right? Play it like you mean it, right? Because otherwise, people pick up on your vibes, and that shows through even in your mixing and stuff. If you're not feeling it, you can hear it in the music. You don't need to be able to see the DJ necessarily to see or hear they weren't feeling it, right? So I think that's a really good tenet to think of.
Yeah. And on that note, you ever find yourself in a situation where you're looking over, there's an empty dance floor, you can tell the DJ isn't feeling it, you want the DJ to start feeling it, get your friends up on the fucking
Yell that.
Somebody behind the decks, if you're just not feeling it and the dance floor is empty, and then everybody, it's a feedback cycle. You're all sitting at your tables being like, yeah, this kind of, you want it to go, ooh, get up and dance.
You don't even have to really dance. Just stand on the dance floor and
there.
wave.
Yeah. Show your presence. If you want a performer to start performing, show them that you care.
That's a good
100%. So, what have you guys got planned for the future? Future plans, future goals, or future visions that you're kind of attacking as far as events go, and kind of being in the event side of things, not necessarily DJ producer, because I want to touch on that stuff later. But
right now I got a show. We're working out the pretty much the final details of everything. But 27th of December, we should be having a show here at. Keep your eyes open for that poster. It's gonna be heavy. Gonna be a pretty heavy show. We got some killers coming.
definitely, every time I've seen you play or your crew there, you guys throw down super hard. So I mean, it's that super disgusting heavy dubstep, right? Used to be the big thing, but these days it's a little less popular. But it's nice to see you guys put in the effort to kind of keep that scene alive. Because I mean, dubstep is where a lot of us got into the scene when things were bigger. 2008 through 2010, 11 type of things, kind of were a find a lot of people jumped on board, and when all that stuff really started getting popular. So it's good to see it kind of making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, and for myself, I've already mentioned it. February 15th. Whole bunch of people coming. I think there's 75 volunteers put that show together, and it's the venue in Canmore called Arts Place. And yeah, all these burners come together, put together art, put together stages, put together lights. Looks like we're gonna have brand new laser projector, a bunch of stuff. 75 people putting the show together and a $55 ticket in the middle of winter. Yourself a hotel. On out. But I will it's not toot the horn of the event. It's just a clear warning. If you do want to come, the tickets sell out in about 10 minutes. The capacity is about 330, and for the past 3 years, we shut down the servers. So if you do want to come to Heartburn, when you see that the tickets are going to be on sale at a certain time, on a certain day, you need to have yourself logged in, with ready to buy your 2 tickets, max 2 tickets per person, right at that moment in time. So that's my little hint warning for anybody who hasn't been to Heartburn. The high demand, and that's directly proportional, I should mention, to all the love that is put into it, and all these 75 people that are putting in 100 hours each, or running the bar, running this, running everything else, without even a paycheck. The more love you put into your events, if you can get that much love put into it, you'll have a 330 tickets that sell out in 10 minutes. But yeah, if you want to come, be on the website when the tickets go. And I'd love to see some pirates this year. The pirates really remind me of the original Burning Man. People from San Francisco said enough of these regulations, and they went out to the desert, set up sound systems, did all kinds of other things. But by today's standards, where the original Burning Man was quite the scene from Mad Max movie. I've learned from some old burners that I met at Burning Man. But yeah, the pirates, the Alberta Mountain Pirates, are kind of like a new spark of a different type of Burning Man culture. That's why I'm involved with them. Really like that feeling, going out where nobody can cause a fuss. And
It's a hell of a compliment. Thanks for that. That's pretty cool, man.
Absolutely.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
You know when those tickets for Heartburn there are going on sale?
That hasn't been decided yet. They tend to go on sale about a month prior to the. So anybody interested in the February 15th regional Burning Man related, it's really Burning Man, I should probably. But it's in the same nature. Burner community put it together. February 15th.
Sounds exciting. Hopefully, we can get some tickets as pirates and make it out there. Definitely heard some good things about it before.
Not working that week. Anyway, I know that we are now sort of crowdfunding pirate show. Up on that, that would be awesome. We want that to that goal that we have. Next show on the roll. Aside from that, the pirates also have a Christmas oriented event coming up in Cochrane, pending, but would love to see you out there.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be posting the link for the crowd fund. So what we're going to do is we set up a donation link, and once we hit our goal, we're going to announce a date and a location for our parties. It's going to be super exciting. And if it is a paid event on private land, for example, anyone who donated will obviously get in based on their donation. And then we can maybe also, offer other people to come as tickets. If it's on public land, obviously, then, the people who donated help make it a reality, and we can let other people in as well without paying. So we're super excited to do that as, throwing all these parties throughout the summer. We've spent an incredible amount of money, and, we obviously have to make it sustainable. So when I do launch that link, which will be coming out later this coming week here, we could definitely use the help, and the sooner we get to that goal, the sooner we have a pirate party, and we can just kind of start snowballing it from there. Super exciting stuff for sure. So next, kind of want to move into kind of the state of the scene in general, right? I mean, it's been around a long time. A lot of people have different experiences, and there's so many different values. It's kind of a place where a lot of people come to express themselves, as well as, take different opportunities, whether you're a DJ, whether you're a photographer, whether you're an artist, or, what have you. There's always kind of a place for somebody to share their magic or their art or their talent. So, it's kind of cool for sure. But let's talk a little bit positives and negatives. So, I think we want to start, how does the scene help people? I find, kind of how I mentioned, you get opportunities. So you can get up there, you can, as Jeremy was saying earlier, especially with people like us, we're open to book you whether you have hundreds of followers or not, right? And same with a photographer or an artist. We'd love to bring on people who do live art installations, that kind of thing. It's always super exciting, and I mean, there's no reason to really not get involved, as operator was saying earlier there. And the free expression thing, I find once I went to Shambhala, I was only 16. Life was a lot different than it is nowadays. But it's kind of when I found it was okay to express yourself a lot. Cause I was kind of grown up in an old school European values family. So for me, it was you kind of have to follow this rigid pattern. You got to believe this and that. And once I went to Shambhala, I was really able to see you can be your own person, and you can kind of live life more on your terms. And I think a lot of people also find that going to festivals. What do you guys think?
Well, as the newest member to the scene in the room, guaranteed, I find and how fast it builds. That's great. I love to see how fast that community comes to the aid of someone who needs help, and that was fantastic. Just
Yeah, I mean that's the culture, going to. I remember when I first started rave, old if that, maybe younger, um, going out or whatever. You still have ed tents or whatever set up. Anybody that needs help, there, that's the thing. And music is what brought that all together. Oh, you got people that look at 50 years ago, we didn't really have all that kind of underground scene, rock stars blowing up stadiums, Now we're hiding out in caves and shit and just putting lights up. Get a Jenny and let's go. Let's get a deck together and just night away under the stars. Friends that I've met all across the country. Going to my first Emerton music, whatnot. You could go and visit somebody the way they had it set up for the Canadian side of the camping and whatnot is they had everywhere set up in the different provinces. Go down to Alberta and hang out with somebody from Alberta. You could go to Quebec and hang out with somebody from Quebec. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That sounds neat for sure.
One thing I could put in to add to that is all along my journey through the rave scene, the communities, it's really been very welcoming to times people who are still in high school who just don't fit in with anyone, or they feel rejected, or even beyond that point in early adulthood. People who have felt like an outsider in society just don't fit in with the pop crowd. of and they're trying to recognize, but they can't come into the rave scene and become super.
100%. I find it's definitely a lot of outcasts and misfits, if you will, that find their place. Myself, like I wasn't super popular in school or nothing, and I went to Chamblon. Like I said, it kind of changed my life and opened my eyes to a lot of things. You can make friends genuinely out there a lot of times. I mean, sometimes it's not always like that, right? Sometimes there's ulterior motives or what have you. But you meet people and they're just there to spread the love and have a good time and just genuinely be themselves. Like I find also, like, for myself and a lot of other people, you get introduced to this new world where it's freedom, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, people do this. And a lot of people started their production or DJ careers just by going to these shows, like myself. Before that, I was an instrumentalist throughout my whole life, but playing guitar and stuff, I was always like, oh, why would you want to DJ or whatever? It doesn't take any skill. And you see these artists doing the thing, and it's like you learn really quickly that it does take a lot of skill, and if you love music, it's a way to really get into the music scene, whether you are still into other types of music. And even so, people spin hip hop, metal, what have you. Like you don't just have to spin dubstep or drum and bass or electronic music at all.
Video game music exists, and it is fun to play with.
100%.
Super Mario somewhere.
Yeah. There's definitely one on the deck.
In the producer world, if you're interested in that, you look up chiptune. There's a whole production world around something called chiptunes, and it's basically emulating 16 bits chips that were in the old Nintendos.
Oh, okay.
There's people recreating that chiptune.
Something else I find super cool about the scene and going to festivals and stuff is the constant stream of new, fresh music all the time. Like, if you're into a band or whatever, they might release an album once a year, once every couple years, or in the case of like System of a Down or Tool, you might wait 10, 15, 20 years before anything new comes out. Whereas like DJs are always putting out new music, and then always, every day you can go on some of these sites and find something fresh, whether it's YouTube or Beatport or Spotify or whatever. There's always new music to keep you entertained, and kind of the way the scene evolved along with that new music is really fascinating. Genres start to blend, ideas start to blend, and you kind of just get this crazy cooking pot, essentially, of absolutely everything.
20 tracks I still need to release, like, if that.
You know why that's a good thing? Imagine going to a 3-day festival that just sounded like the same thing for 3
You mean like the radio? Like any given Calgary radio station?
Definitely a lot of the same over and over, right? That's the underground scene. You almost never hear, well, I should say never, popular songs will get played a lot throughout a weekend at a festival, but you don't hear the same thing twice. Everybody can take the same song and make it sound different by using samples or filters or whatever during their performance, whether it's stems, what have you. Like, it's interesting. Everybody has their own take on it.
Do a Bottle Don remix, you're good.
And I think that you will always have a hit if you smash that They're Eating the Dogs. Yeah. I can't wait to hear that at a show. It's funny.
I'm not sure what you're referencing there.
Oh, come on, people. There's a remix of Trump saying they're eating the dogs. It is hilarious.
I did see that, yeah.
It is absolutely hilarious and definitely worth a listen.
Eating the dogs.
Yeah. They're eating the dogs. It's hilarious.
That's so good.
They did not waste any time on that. And it was absolutely gold.
Okay, on the production note, there's a, as you become more adept at producing, there's a whole thing about that. If you can be into something that is like going to connect with society, like, and be there.
Wow, that's it. That's exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good way to get yourself out there.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's an entire competitive market. There's people watching social media. It's just steady, like, yeah, remix that right now.
Yeah,
seriously.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So you can get some of your best stuff to mix, I swear. And I'm not mixing yet.
It's basically using memes in your music, right?
Yeah, literally.
It's meme music.
Meme
and
music.
It's absolutely
There's
awesome.
a new genre for you.
I literally have a whole song called Meme Lord. And it's literally, I just sampled a shit ton of like old vines and shit.
You got that one song, "Internet Legion" by I'm sure you know it's Dubz that tune. I can't remember the artist off the top of my head, but it's got a whole bunch of that. There's also another one called Meme Graveyard. I think that one's Bandles, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
It's got
yeah,
a lot of
Vandals.
same idea. There's samples and stuff, and just touching on the pop culture of it all, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's good times working with beams, that's for sure. You can like basically you pull a South Park, you know.
Right? Yeah, funny sells.
You guys find any other positives other than kind of what we've touched on that people get from the scene?
Uplifting your damn self in the first
Yeah.
place, you know, like
Love.
yeah.
Like a hug from a stranger. Like, I mean,
True.
it's you don't really know. People haven't been out for a month. They go out to a rave, and just the first hug from a stranger is the best thing in the whole world.
100%.
Yeah.
Something that I always seen is like, you have random people offering you water if you might look dehydrated,
exactly.
or like, having a bad time, someone will always reach out to you. And another really cool thing is, they always have harm reduction tents and stuff offering information on all different kinds of stuff and
Yeah.
supplies, whatever, whether it be condoms or straws or what have you. And I think that's just really cool because not a lot of other culture has that.
Yeah, the safety culture that grows within the community. Something that's unique. I mean, of course, every major festival, rock concert, outdoor, whatever outdoor thing has a med tent, but it's not like a place to visit. I noticed that in our show, when you have one, there's people going who use the damn thing, and I mean, at a major festival, you try not to go to the med. Stroke is not the thing you're going for, but
100%.
In there. Being a normal.
yeah.
Better strokes than a
Right. I mean, that kind of brings us to the next topic, which is kind of the scene's dark underbelly, right? There's a lot of things about the scene, as positive as it is and as how life-changing it is for a lot of people, there is kind of not the greatest side to it. And a lot of that comes down to, like, what I find booking based on followers instead of talent. If your friends buy a lot of alcohol and you have a posse that follows you around, for example, or you can sell a lot of tickets, it doesn't matter if you're talented or not. You're going to get bookings a lot of time, and I don't really think that's right necessarily, but I think it's a big problem, and it does happen a whole lot.
I'd agree. I'd say the music scene is very. I mean, whether it even be like the type of music, definitely start hanging around people that go to those shows, then and then that could fall back into even runs those shows. That like it is very much a open community, but at the end of the day, once somebody starts stealing your slots and shit, never know, man.
We're in an era where one of the hottest items that are selling right now is DJ controllers. And there's a lot of people, which is great. When I first started in the underground and DJing, I was very wishful that more people would think this was cool. Because back then it was, people wanted to go see bands, and when they went out to clubs, they would just want to hear top 40. And here I was pumping electro house in top 40 bars and having people walk off the dance floor. So I wished it upon myself, but now that it's really cool, everybody's getting a DJ. Which means when it comes down to promoters that are the type of promoters who like the ones that give them the most attention in various ways. I mean, you're serious about your. You got new people who've been mixing for 3 months, but are really good at some certain things. Really kind of treading on your waters.
Yeah.
So this is where it's going to come in. The importance of learning to produce music. anybody can learn to mix in 2 months. I hate to say it,
Sure.
with the technology the way it is now, anybody can go on Beatport top 100 charts and download the damn thing, and then go out and play the game just right, and within 2 months be on a big stage somewhere. And that could be, there's a whole number of factors that anything from being a very beautiful woman to just being very good at speaking, but with it, yep,
Yep.
or a huge stage present personality. But you can download the Beatport top 100 of pick your genre, and if you know how to talk the talk and walk the walk, you can be like quite a long ways with
Yeah.
2 months experience or a year experience, or learning to produce will give you cutting edge. Like
For sure.
there's a certain group of people on the dance floor that look up, they can tell this person is mixing the top 100 charts, or this person's making their own music. And when you produce music in 16 hours worth of time into a 3-minute segment of music, and people know that,
Yeah, man.
you can give yourself the cutting edge, and promote yourself that way. And when you're up there, make sure everybody knows. Find a way to make sure everybody knows. I just didn't download this shit and rip it off YouTube. I made this shit.
Artist tags, man. Artist tags.
Right on Gr1mfax.
That's what really defines you. I mean, again, coming down to there's so much new music always coming out, but a lot of people even play off the top 100s on Beatport or what have you, right? And yeah, sure, you can do different things with the same music. You portray it a different way. You mix it with other tunes. You mix differently than the next guy or whatever, and that's all great. But I mean, at the same time, like, what really makes you stand out? What really makes you different? If you look at a lot of these huge artists, they've defined something, whether it be their own sound or whether it be kind of the way that they do the thing, essentially.
I
That
found
entry catchy. Some of the have it. But
It's on the intro.
yeah, just on the
Have
intro.
a special.
Yeah, just
Make a special intro for yourself.
It's enough, and it clicks, and
Yeah.
he's got it, right? That's just a personal.
like on my songs and whatnot, I'll have like an intro. Just to like
I know that
introduce,
one.
I'm here, motherfucker, like
It's people don't even know who they're looking at most of the time. They're like, I don't know who the fuck is up there. It could be somebody really big. It could be just somebody doing their first show. They don't even know. They're on the dance floor. They're like, some guys up on the rolls up on the deck.
Yeah,
It sounds good.
that was fine.
I don't know who it is.
It sounds cool.
Chaos over here keeps saying, "Oh, this is that person and this is that person," and I'm just like, "They play music? Okay, well, if that I know who they are, I'm gonna go take a look at them, and if I remember, then I remember." But it definitely took longer to remember everyone's name than it just happens.
So bad.
Right? Yeah.
Also, I mean, Goldbeard, you're new to the scene, right? So you weren't really into a lot of this. You didn't have an easiest time at first defining what type of music is what or whatever, right? So it's a little harder then to kind of remember people a lot of time. But I do know that you are recognizant, if you will, of some DJs, because I know you pointed out Jay and Alex there. You were like, oh, whoever that guy is, I really love that. And I was like, oh, well, that's, Jay and Alex or whatever, because he mixes in a lot of like pop punk and like kind of rock and metal stuff. So I mean, Mike was a lot more into that. Obviously, though, we're turning you over to the electronic dark side.
Well, you keep trying, and I'm gonna just keep in my lane for now.
Yeah, I think it was at 0 Days too. I started playing some Slipknot, and then you came on stage. You're like, "Fuck yeah!"
Absolutely. That's my jam. All right, that's my jam. Otherwise, you guys are gonna hear me play some classical music, and you can all suffer with me.
I'd be down. Did you hear that? Mozart actually just dropped a new single. It's like,
That's
what?
so-
They found a new Mozart like sheet, and they're like, oh shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I like that you touched on the how it's like kind of a lot of drama and cliques. That's actually something that I had here as well to talk about. Like, it seems really fractured and segregated. You know, even if you are in a group that plays like same or similar music to another group, whether it's drum and bass or what have you, you know, there's a lot of different crews, and it's really hard to kind of get everyone to come together. And as the Pirates, kind of something we try to do. Like, I don't care if you're from this crew, whatever. I don't care what music you play, whatever. We all want to come together as a scene. So we really need community to make this happen, as we were talking about earlier, right? But you know, I really hate that segregation is such a big thing. But I've heard other cities isn't quite the same. There's a lot more kind of, you know, unity, if you will, unification of genres and stuff. But for me, I find a lot of time, like, I grew up in the era, I came out, you know, I started in the scene in 2008, when really you go to a show and it was just dubstep the whole time, whether you go from deep dubstep to heavier stuff or whatever, it was kind of just dubstep all the time, right? And now a lot of times you get a show where one DJ will play 6, 10 genres in a set sometimes, and you know, that can be cool, but it can also be done poorly sometimes. It kind of just be too much. You kind of get into the groove, and all of a sudden you're like, well, we're on a completely different train here all of a sudden, you know?
Practice. Like, yeah. I don't know. I've still found it very, very like inclusive within Calgary, despite like minor setbacks like I'm talking about though. Like even then I still have like group chats with like easily over 100 DJs just here in Calgary, you know, like so yeah, no, I'd say it's everybody still has friend groups or whatever. Yeah. I still see everybody out at shows probably even once a year, you know, like then yeah, at least everybody can still make it out to Asia. I'd go crazy if I couldn't, you know.
Times have been tough, you know. Not everyone can get out to every show this year, especially.
Well, you know, the Roni really didn't help. It kind of killed a lot of people's mindsets and their vibes, and the community has to kind of rebuild after being locked away for so long and told, no, that's bad if you go to shows or
Sure,
do your
everyone
art.
knows
Or...
somebody that didn't make it through that either.
Lost a lot of ravers birth.
That's
Good.
Lost a lot of ravers.
Shit. Oh,
I guess one of the other dark sides of the scene is kind of, you know, a lot of people you'll see a lot of times addiction and loss of self-control. You know, for example, like the one year at Shambhala, we went to see Datsik, and you know, I've heard he used to, or maybe still does, have quite the problem, and his set really showed it because he wasn't in it, and as we were kind of talking about earlier, you can tell when the DJ is not in it, and it was really sloppy, and it was not up to the standards that you would expect, especially from, you know, being a headliner at the Village and knowing the artists from before, hearing their music, hearing what to expect, and it's kind of like, wow, this is just not up to par, essentially, you know. And I know it's also a problem not only for artists and DJs. Again, in the case of Datsik, I don't want to get into too much about what he did or was accused of doing, but you know, things can get out of control. But it's also a lot of a problem for people at the parties. You know, this is kind of why there's harm reduction, and at Shambhala, for example, there's signs that say "Don't rape," which to me is just absurd because there's nowhere else in the world that you go where, you know, you have a sign that says "Don't rape," essentially. But I guess, you know, when things are kind of so free and welcoming and open to anybody really, and then, you know, you have kind of an open drug market, which is the case in a lot of places. It just is what it is. People are going to do drugs regardless. You know, that's why harm reduction's there and stuff. But people kind of just think it's a free for all to kind of do whatever they want, whether it's good or bad or harming other people or not. You know.
Stop going to raves with the purpose of getting fucked.
hell that, yo.
No, it's, everybody out there who can hear this, all how many we have here? What, 60? 40? Don't ever go to a party with the purpose of saying I need to get laid. Because you know what? That's what causes the problem in the first place when you're telling all your friends where you're going. Then the expectation is there. Put your egos in check. You know what? If something like that kind of materializes on its own in an event at a festival, so be it. But you know what? If you're going with that intention, it ain't gonna happen. And when you got a bunch of people from northern Alberta who've been stuck on an oil rig for 6 months, and then they're at Shambhala with nothing, like this is the problem. People going to an event with this intention.
They're not there for the music.
It-
They're not
it's
there for
not-
the community.
You're not being cool if you're going to an electronic music festival and your main reason for going is not because of the music, it's because you want to get laid. You're not cool. Suck.
Well, even just getting fucked up in a general, like if that's what you're set your fucking mind on doing, you know, like fuck, if you're gonna be out there doing that, fucking at least know your limits. Like fuck.
There's no sense in making yourself into a goon. Nobody likes the goon.
Don't worry. You might think you're covert. You're not. Everybody can see it. Everybody can see you trying.
I mean, everybody's either seen it in photos or a video or, you know, in person. Someone passed out, someone needing medical attention, someone, you know, having a bad trip, ending up, you know, in the sanctuary, for example, or whatever it is, you know. And again, you know, to be fair, a lot of times there's not enough education starting from day one, you know, about drugs and alcohol, for example, or about self-control in general. And that, you know, should be happening in school, in my opinion. You don't learn a lot of things that you need to learn in school, but also, you know, you turn 18 and you're kind of like, all right, well, now I'm allowed to, you know, drink or whatever it is. And you kind of go out, maybe take it too far. But, you know, if it becomes a pattern, and as I'm sure you know or have seen, there is those people that come to shows that just never really grew up, you know, like a lot of times you see them and you're like, wow, you're still doing the shit we were doing 20 years ago. Like, you know, take care of yourself, grow up, drink some water. Like, you need to know your limits, like you were saying, you know, so. So let's move in and talk a little bit about, you know, being an artist, a DJ, and a producer. And I think, you know, we all have a little bit of experience there, and we know a lot of people doing this stuff. So one of the first things I do want to touch on is one of the reasons we're not streaming to Twitch today, and we probably won't be in the future. We're going to probably move to Mixcloud and pay a subscription. But I'm not sure if you guys know, Twitch is now allowing DJ streaming, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like a lot of the other platforms. So I find it kind of interesting the way they've done it or decided to do it, but not only do you have to move your account over from a regular streamer account to a DJ account, where apparently you're not supposed to be playing games on or anything, it's strictly for DJing, you have to follow essentially their Bible of what tracks are allowed. So you have to manually reference every track you plan on playing, and if it's not on their list, you can't play it, whether it's a self-produced track that's unreleased, whether it's something that you were sent by an artist or a label that you have permission to play unreleased. There's ways around that. You can write a letter or whatever. But if it's basically they're saying if it's not on our list, you can't play it. And I've seen already people getting strikes for playing stuff that isn't on their list, which is crazy. Because, like, to me, that how does that really help? You know, it kind of narrows down. And okay, they may have 50, 100,000, whatever tracks on there for you to choose from, but they don't have it all. What about that new, fresh stuff, for example? Or, you know, like I said, you know, as a producer, I want to play my own tracks. They say, nope, you're not allowed. To me, that's insanity.
I guess as a music producer right there, I'm out. Because I guarantee you none of my own creations are on their list.
I didn't hear that yet, but knowing that, I would never.
No, I saw C-Dot. He posted the thing, like he got a warning or whatever it was, and his account was suspended for, I'm not sure how long, a few days probably. And so I read their terms and conditions or whatever, and I was like, wow, this is absolutely ridiculous, you know? I think it's just totally silly in my opinion. Cloud appears to be the way to go because you pay a subscription, and as far as I know, you can play pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I never really had a problem. I think my first mix I actually released was on Cloud, and it went. I think it was for 6 hit in Canada for dubstep
Oh,
chart.
congratulations, Gr1mfax. That's quite the accomplishment.
That was first mix ever. I was like, shit, okay.
Banging. It's one of those things, once you start, it's like a can of Pringles, you just can't stop, right?
I know for sure. Once I saw that, I was like, shit.
On that note, you never know what's going on. So, yeah, if you're putting stuff out there, the things you put your whole heart and soul into, is just sit there and watch it. You get a flying toot, it'll go viral. You just don't know. Just keep putting stuff out there.
It's true, man. I mean, at the same time, like, look at Disney and how they just started pumping out shit. Like, quality went down, you know. But
That's right. It's just that kind of thing. I mean, as a DJ that used to play in all the top 40 clubs, and when I first heard, Duck Sauce, Barbara Streisand, I was like, this is the most ridiculous, stupid thing I've ever heard. But then for 3 years, 3 New Year's Eves in a row, it was the banger, like right before New Year's Eve. Really, Barbara Streisand? That's your tagline? Fucking went off.
Yeah, that's so true.
Kind of getting back to the like meme music, a
Yeah,
little bit.
no kidding, eh?
So as artists, like, what do you find that your inspiration, your drives, and goals are to kind of keep you going? Maybe you're trying to start a new track, and maybe not necessarily writer's block, but you're looking for ideas. Like, where do you start, or what inspired you to start that track, or your DJ career, even? What kind of got you into all this, or what gets you motivated when you're looking for that motivation?
Failure.
I use that a lot, actually. Yeah.
I failed at something. I tried at something and it failed. I'm going to go 2 times, 3 times hard the next.
Oh, absolutely.
Failure is a great driver. So don't be too brokenhearted by failing at something you're trying to. Use it as a, oh yeah, we'll watch what I do next time.
Exactly.
Go 3 times as hard, work 3 times as hard. Go.
I'd say, like, as a producer, like, I started playing music when I was probably about 14 years old, and my girlfriend's brother was actually the one that really started teaching me how to start really diving into a lot of music. Like, it's really taught me how to. And like, the first time I started staring at a deck, like, it took me 2-3 months.
It's my favorite shit.
Out.
Just like I said.
Yeah.
I mean, you won't make the best or whatever, but like even then, having music, but you really grow.
Yeah. Back to what you just said there is a great point. Music theory. If you're getting into producing, you should probably learn some theory. And you can do it just by getting yourself a cheap acoustic guitar and learning some basic guitar work, and learning some basic Neil Young covers and some other little covers on a guitar, which is where I started when I was a teenager, playing a few of this and that of the popular things that went off in the 70s, but then learning those chord progressions. That translates to everything. You throw the same exact chord progression from a Neil Young track into an electronic dubstep track, and everybody's ears are going to like tweak because there's something there. There's something familiar about it. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of songs use the same chord progressions and that are like hits. A lot of songs are like that.
I mean, I find like it's kind of all been done. It's there's always something new here and there, right? But it's all been done, right? It's how you put it together, and it kind of goes back to mixing a lot of the same tracks. It's do it differently than somebody else. Put your spin on it.
So much different.
Twist it around, tweak it out, make it new, make it fresh.
So, do you guys have any upcoming stuff in the pipes as far as production goes?
Yeah, I've definitely been working on stuff. I just lost the track the other day. It got wiped, so I gotta try and recover that one. I was working on some Halloween tune, but I didn't get it finished because I had to start moving and all this whatnot, getting new shows put together and whatnot. So that took some time away. But can't wait to start sitting back at the computer. That Halloween tune was like a Egan versus Chucky kind of battle.
I'm so sad that I'll never hear it.
Oh, dude, I'll try and find. There's a will, there's a way, man.
Yeah. But twisting things up, this is what created electronic music, I think, and made it popular in the first. Remixing, remangling things around, and I think that's what really draws the audience in, is hearing something brand new, fresh, but then little notes of familiarity. Really incredibly important.
For sure, 100%. The other thing is, like, when you're in the production software, it's a lot like a video game, I find. You get a lot of the same dopamine hits you get from playing video games or whatever, but it's just different, you know? It's kind of a never-ending, like, it's a game you can never beat. An artist is never really fully happy with their own music, you know? So you kind of always just try something new, learn something new, and it's just always this expansive, exciting environment, I find.
Absolutely. If you're already a gamer, you'll probably be really good at producing EDM.
Turn up. Like sitting there and just playing a continuous Super Mario Bros. Level.
With less penalty for failing, right?
Well, sometimes.
So, I'd like to kind of touch back a little bit on kind of inspirations and drive and stuff. I mean, I kind of touched on this earlier, but for me, you know, when I went to Shambhala, it really opened my eyes, and it got me really into it. And I actually started producing before I started DJing. Started playing with virtual DJ when I really did get into DJing. It was a while before I actually got a controller and actually started getting hands-on, but it was the production that really got me. Like, wow, you can just make this. Like, you know, you get your first production software open. In my case, is Ableton Live, but you get it open and you realize this is not like a guitar, right? Because the guitar has strings. You can just strum the guitar, and there's some sounds you can play with right away. But like, you get in the production software, and you got a quite learning curve to figure out. Wait, it doesn't even do anything at first, you know. So you start putting sounds in, figuring out how to play MIDI or use the MIDI and use the STs and get everything installed correctly, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So
Took me, you know, back in 2001, took me 3 days to get my first DAW to make its first sound. You had to go in the settings and route which way the audio went to the speakers. Yeah, I had these things looking like they should be making sound. It took me 3 days to get the sound to come out of it.
I remember a video game. It came with my PlayStation 2's Ethernet adapter called Freak. Had like a mash buttons and obviously can't download nothing off of it, use it anywhere, but it's an interesting, fun game. Kind of a you could start quickly making sounds. It was an interesting game. It was just a demo on the install disk, but
Up to that point, you can make music with anything. There's a whole bunch of cheap crap on. You don't even. There's a bunch of like new stuff on eBay, $60.
like that,
Get something and start playing with it.
a bunch of phone
Just like the
apps too,
Gorillas
where you
did.
got MIDI and production suites on your phone. I mean, there used to be Caustic, which somebody's trying to rebuild because the developers gave up on it or whatever. But Caustic was super cool. You could download packs, and it was kind of like a different, you know, rack, and you had all these different pianos, and you could put in like, you know, bass synth, this and that. It was really like using a mini version of Ableton kind of. It was super cool. But these days it's not available anymore, unfortunately. So I hope to see that the guy that's trying to rebuild it and rewrite it has success. You can find that on YouTube if y'all are interested watching. But he's trying to remake it. It's pretty exciting. Talking about, you were mentioning this game that you had, Mike, there or whatever. That kind of reminds me too. You know, I guess my first thing that really got me interested in DJing, and I was quite young, but they used to have this thing. Maybe you guys will remember it because we're all getting older now. But it was like a little DJ controller, and I was thinking, oh, well, I'm hoping you can put your own music and DJ and stuff, but it wasn't. It was like, it looked like a DJ controller before controllers were really a thing. But you had like buttons, and you could kind of push, and it had like loops or whatever, and you could kind of get the loops going together and start, you know, playing with all these different loops to make different stuff. And there was like a bunch of drum and bass settings, and at the time, I really didn't know what drum and bass was. I can't remember what this thing was called, but it was geared towards kids and stuff. But I was like, this is weird, you know, and I didn't have it for very long before I sold it, but it definitely got my taste buds itching for more of this. That's for sure.
Sounds like a friendly MP.
Oh, this is a good point you put out to all the ravers that dropped off the map because they had kids. Get your kids these things.
Go buy them Christmas presents.
For sure.
First deck.
Yeah. Here, express yourself.
Yeah, seriously. My first guitar, I went nuts.
Yeah.
The younger you get into it, the more malleable your brain is, the easier it is to kind of pick up on this stuff and learn and get into it. And, you know, I always thought, like, as a kid, like, oh, you know, I don't want to learn piano or whatever. I was all about the drums through junior high and stuff, and played guitar before and after that. But you got to get your feet wet early, and then, oh, sorry, so I was on other track here. I always thought piano was kind of lame or whatever, but now you see, you know, bands like Dream Theater or whatever. There's a lot of other artists as well, and being a music producer now, like, how sweet would it have been back in the day to learn piano a little bit better and be more effective with it? Because, you know, today I'm not super into music theory or whatever, and I really kind of wish I knew more about the hand positions, more about getting in, you know, the chords and really different, like, keys and stuff, you know, when you get into, you know, the minors and the flats, and you have different chord progressions once you get inside of those as well, you know, so it's quite interesting, and I feel a little left behind, and that's, I guess, my own fault.
Well, I mean, no better time to start than now, though.
I'm going to add
Sure.
to that.
Hey, I 50 years old and decide you're gonna
Go off on something,
by the time you're 50.
top of the game. No, you're not. I haven't decided.
You're gonna start.
Actually, you know what? A 70-year-old individual went on there and they're being really good at it. They probably have the cutting edge advantage over it.
But yeah, no,
Because
for
the
sure.
internet would go wild over it.
Yeah, exactly.
This old fucker decided he's going to do this now.
Oh.
No, it's just a policy.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
the fact of the
that
matter
works so
is-
well. Like, look at that guy go.
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is that the scene around here, especially even in Calgary, is full of that older generation, and they're not averse to computers. They're not averse to anything like that. So now it's not an unheard of thing to say that, yeah, you take all those years of listening to music and turn them into something now.
Yeah.
Modern.
All us, you know, experts or whatever, could potentially get shown up by a geriatric.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, how did you get that good that fast? Shut
Yeah.
up.
Let's drink.
It's because they just know a lot of people, and they just said, hey, listen to my stuff, because they've been around them for a whole
Yeah,
while.
they know everybody.
Right.
So, before we finish this off, I want to touch on one more topic here, and you know, so you got your main artists, you got Gr1mfax, you got Oper80r, KhaosDubz, obviously, but do you guys have any other side projects that you're working on, something different, maybe out of left field, something that's not necessarily related, but maybe, you know, in the universe of what you're doing, but something different altogether, or, you know, what have you?
I've had some thoughts about starting up a new alias, so see how that goes. I'd definitely take a genre switch, so we'll see what comes up in the air.
Hey, and let's do this all the time. Brand new image. Myself, completely unrelated. I have a little half-acre property, and I work really hard at learning permaculture and growing food and having a system that produces without exterior input. So I work really hard at growing certain types of cover crops that produce nitrogen right from the atmosphere, soil, and you know, not even needing to bring in any other things. I've got a little, probably 200 square foot of vegetable garden. Year over year, I saved this. I don't know. Self-sustainability.
Nope.
Definitely, it's important in today's day and age. The world is going crazy, and I say over the last 50, 60 years, we've really lost our roots and how our ancestors used to live. Just my grandparents even, they lived in Croatia, and things were totally different. There wasn't phones, there wasn't the infrastructure we have, and you really had to rely on your neighbors, your community, and everything you could do on your own. And the food was better, there was less diseases, and they were growing the things they had naturally, which would be a lot of times it's shit from the pigs and cows, or even their own outhouses in some cases, right? And you got to learn how to use the land. And today, we don't have that a lot of time. People have forgot how to garden, forgot how to make fire. In the case of the Alberta mountain pirates, last year we were into some casting and stuff out in the woods and doing some metallurgy, just using fire with no kilns or any special equipment really. And things, the more you know, the better, right? The more chance you have of kind of surviving whatever comes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cities have taken away so much from human society. We've been able to develop so many great things, but along the way have completely lost touch with our humanity and that tribal feeling back together. I'm just looking forward to winter season myself. Hopefully we'll get some content recorded for our other channels and forward waiting for that next season, the next season of shows, uh, where go.
For sure. You can also check out a lot of our videos from last year and the years before on the same channel if you're watching on YouTube right here, YouTube at Alberta Mountain Pirates. We got a whole bunch of content up there. It's a variety of different stuff. There's some riding videos, like I said, there's some metallurgy, there's some wood videos, just everything that we do. And, now we're moving into more of the electronic music side of stuff, so that's pretty cool. And there's more content in the pipes. It'll be coming out, so exciting. As far as myself, I wanted to touch on some side projects. So not only do I have the whole DJ production thing that I got going under KhaosDubz, I'm also writing a funk album, which is super cool. I'm excited about that. And if you follow me on BandLab, you can actually check that stuff out. I do have it up there. That's not private necessarily. It's not released yet either, though, but there is that, and that's super fun. I've also got a metal project that I've started. I haven't really got super far on it, but I did release one track to my Spotify, where you can find a bunch of my other music, Spotify, Apple, whatever, wherever you find your music. It's out there as well. And I just think it's cool to be able to kind of, get into different genres and express yourself in different ways, and kind of, in my case, go back to my roots, right? Because I started out as a metalhead, so, it's interesting to kind of bring some of that back. And yeah, sure, it's not drum and bass, it's not dubstep, it's not electronic, but again, now that everything's blending together and there's not really any rules anymore, why don't you add some electronic in here, you add some metal as well, kind of bring it all together, and you have a lot more opportunity and a lot more ways to do things. And you don't need a whole band, you don't need necessarily a whole studio. All you really need is a decent computer and the drive to be able to kind of create whatever you want.
It's the age to be a creator. Going into especially the next round. We're gonna have a lot of AI presence. We already do, but it's about to get way, I might say, worse. But the importance of humans producing things from the human soul and putting it out there onto the World Wide Web is incredibly important. There's going to be a battle of like human created versus AI created. So hone your skills now. It'll be a long time before AI will be able to recreate the human soul in music. And music is a representation of the human soul as we create it. And the more music, the more you practice, the more you create, the more you're putting your soul into it. Yeah, very important. Everybody get producing now, because
They took our germs.
Yep.
AI is getting definitely pretty crazy, and I think pretty soon you're not going to be able to tell the difference. I saw a thing where it's Elon Musk speaking about some nonsense that he has no real knowledge of or whatever. I'm not even sure if the story was made up or not, but I had to actually read the comments and know that it was AI, and when you look a little deeper, you can see that the mouth just isn't quite right, but it's getting so convincing that it's even tricking people that are, actively making stuff with AI, like myself and a lot of other creators. So
Caden's just isn't quite right, and is any better, and it is.
I'm pretty sure there's an AI out there just listen to you say that, and it's already working on correcting itself.
Literally.
Yeah, well, there's for somebody such as Elon, or the reason that there's so many bots using AI versions of Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, is because there's so many hours available of audio for them.
100%.
And
We're
you.
on TV.
It's also really easy to trick older folks. I've seen a lot of crypto scams from Elon, for example, on YouTube, and YouTube allows it for some reason, but they'll steal somebody's channel because they don't have, say, 2FA enabled or whatever, that has a lot of subscribers, and then, all of a sudden, boom, that channel has tons of subscribers, and now they're putting out this thing that looks like Elon Musk saying, hey, this is really good, buy this crypto or whatever, or send us, this much, and we'll send you this much back. But if you're not really into it, you're going to get tricked, and it sucks because there's really no checks and balances yet. They haven't developed enough laws, essentially. Not that we need more laws, but, ways to stop this. It's getting pretty crazy, and it's pretty cool to see. We're in the technological revolution. We're living in the future, folks.
Well, I don't think they'll be able to stop it, but should come up with some means of protection for an easier way to prove you are you when your things are stolen from you.
It'll probably come in the form of some blockchain application.
That's what cybersecurity's for.
Uh,
Where each one are or
whatever, become a blockchain token.
Yeah.
Will be on the blockchain, and that will be the ultimate identification proof.
Digital ID.
Yeah, which a lot of us are against, but given the conversation,
You get a neural implant. I can only imagine what kind of information they have on your body.
Right, no kidding, that's scary.
how many people wear a smartwatch? It's already got biometrics feeding into the data network.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't want humans turning into the Borg people. Okay, that's not what we want.
Probably
we want Star Wars.
It's probably
we don't
inevitable.
want Star Trek
Yeah.
in that regard. We don't want the Borg. Okay, we all want R2D2. Right, that's what we want. We don't want this crap in our heads. And digital IDs is I guess fine because everything that we do is online freaking anyway. Your phone SIM card is your digital ID card for all intents and purposes currently.
There's a lot of things that go along with that. Your digital ID being issued by a government. Now, if you have one, your government can track wherever you are, because every time
You have a cell phone. You have
I-
a cell phone. in
I
your
can
pocket
leave
for
that. I can
tracking.
leave that at home.
Yeah.
You
But
leave your digital ID card at home too.
yeah, and then not get on the air.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, we want to know who's on the airplane so that we know that it's not a jihadi extremist. Right.
I am. Digital ID is a very complicated topic, and a lot of people are definitely afraid of it.
It depends who's in control of it, I think, in a lot of cases, because, being into crypto a little bit myself, like, there is some benefit to it. Like, for example, zero-knowledge proofs, which is, it's a token or a way to verify that you are you without giving any personally identifiable information. So if you're applying for, like, a course in college, for example, and you wanted to make sure that this person's accredited, but you don't necessarily need to know their personal information, you can use this zero-knowledge proof as your digital ID, if you will, to be able to prove that it is you indeed, and you don't have to give them your name or anything, right? So I think that's pretty fascinating. But again, things can be abused, and it really depends who's in control, who's designed it, if there's backdoors or what have you.
Technological, highly vulnerable hack, and that's really why most idea. Happened say during COVID. Now you don't have your little ticker in your phone, and now you can't go to the restaurant. Yeah, you don't want that. That's not the way to operate ID. This is literally just, this is who I am. Look, I'm of age, whatever, more than literally a way to control you as they obviously wanting. It's all written in the legislature. You just have to read it to find out what they really want to do.
100%. So before we wrap this up, do you guys have anything else to add? Maybe something you want to mention that we didn't cover, or something you feel that we need to talk about? I think we've covered a lot of comprehensive stuff, and it's been a super good chat. But the floor is yours if you have anything to add.
Love everybody. Love everybody and show support.
Everybody love everybody.
If you see somebody, doing something online, whether it's, putting out a new business on Etsy or whatever it is, throw them some likes.
Yeah, it's not that hard to
If
support.
it's not that hard to support. You just click the little heart, the little like button, and you're already looking at it. Maybe you were interested in it. Just click the like button. Everything people are trying to do is usually held back digitally by the algorithm, because the algorithm supports things that are it's gonna push things into other people's screens if they see the algorithm sees likes being hit. So if you see somebody trying hard at anything, whether no matter what it is, they're putting themselves out there, click the like button, subscribe,
Share, exactly, 100%.
Absolutely.
Friends, if you like it.
A lot of the times somebody's trying to promote themselves in any which way, and they're not even getting seen by anybody because it got 2 likes. See somebody trying hard at something, even if it doesn't really resonate, click the like button.
Support your friends, support the scene, and support local businesses as well.
That's a big thing that I got going for the next show, is that everybody's on that list, like for the set and everything, all local, whether it be from here in Calgary or international. Solid show, that's for sure.
The way to do it, rather than bring in international headliners which isn't necessarily a bad thing in some cases, right? But a lot of time, they're already playing a bunch of other shows in near areas, whether it be at the same party or another party you may be going to, or maybe they don't even really need the money. A lot of these artists charge sometimes thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to come play for an hour, and a lot of times your friends will play for either nothing or some drinks, or in a lot of cases, the support and respect of the crowd that you're putting them in front of. So I think that's pretty cool.
Indeed, they rely on people trying to make something of themselves. Really fluff the people that are coming in and taking all the money. They've already made it. They already have a mansion somewhere, and just know that the local people making something, and you want more money to stay in your economy, if you're only going to see headliners, just know that all that money of all those people in the audience, the 800 people or whatever in the Palace Theater, or however many it is, all that money is going back to LA. All that money's leaving here and going somewhere. So support local and create your own headliner here, and then send that headliner out into the world, and that money from elsewhere will be coming back into this economy.
Great point. Great way to look at it. Well, thanks, guys. This has been a whole lot of fun and an interesting experience for our first podcast. So we're going to definitely
have to work on that audio. I hear reading that.
We're definitely making some progress on the audio here, right? Little things, little adjustments and tweaks, and we'll kind of hammer out the issues as we go for sure. But we're going to be doing alternating weeks. So next weekend we're going to do a live stream with some DJs, with some special guests again, and the week after that we're going to be doing another podcast like this. And if it becomes popular and something you guys want to see more of course we've got a lot of special guests we can bring on, a lot of talent, a lot of people that want to share their story. So we can start doing it, more regularly, say every week, for example, and I think this is definitely something that's going to take off. So thanks everybody for being here, and thanks everybody for watching, and make sure you follow our socials, hit that like, hit that share button, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and stay tuned for what, you know, all of us here have an offer, because we're all, sounds like, into a lot of stuff, and we all have a lot of goals, and we plan on making the world a better place by sharing our magic and uniqueness.
Yar.
Yarr.
Biggest thing I can say, be grateful, be authentic, and folks, never give up. No matter what you do, never give up, because tomorrow's a new day, and you never know what the future holds.
Boom. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. It's been a pleasure, and to those watching, we'll catch you in the next one.